We are live. I think we are. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun.
This is on your channel, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to just join it in the background.
So far, I don't see that we're live. I think it's loading here. Oh, yeah. We're here. We're live.
Oh, we're here.
Okay. What's up, guys? What are we? Mid-September. We've got only a few of us today, but we're going to talk mostly about sealed, and these are the DFW sealed gods on cam right now.
That's crazy.
Whatever. You guys are legends of making, if not anything else. So we've got MetaKhai mainstay here, and also everybody please meet Jason, aka the Kitchen TCG.
What's up, everybody?
Those of you who are on our stream, thank you for joining. If you want to follow MetaKhai, it's at MetaKhai on all socials. Jason's socials are at the Kitchen TCG on all socials. And today, because we've never talked about it, we usually talk about high-end Pokemon cards, graded cards, the way the market is going. What's up, Pokechechi? But this time, we're going to be talking about explicitly sealed investments, sealed collecting, how the market has been this year, and so on. So maybe to kick it off, I'd love to hear from both of you individually on how you originally got into sealed. What was your kind of seed sealed investment? Where you are now? And yeah, let's start there, and then we can kind of move.
I can kick it off. I was a dirty reseller when I was starting off. In college, I needed extra money to pay for school, pay for rent, tuition, and then just pretty much everything a college student needs to pay for. During COVID, there was a lot of resale opportunities. I was in just a few Discord chats with all of my friends who invited me. So I was selling swimming pools, gym equipment, stuff like that. And then across my radar came Pokemon cards. It was actually the Shining Legends Super Premium Collection with the 10 packs and then a Ho-Oh figure and then the Lugia promos and then Celebi, all that cool stuff. That big box. I think the market's like 500 plus. I don't even know nowadays. But
like 800 now. It's crazy.
Geez, see? But anyways, that was my first investment into sealed product. That was my first introduction into like this Pokemon market. So Shining Legends was my very first item. And then that's my origin story. Maybe villain, maybe hero. Jason, I'll pass to you how you started with yours.
Yeah, so I'm a COVID person. So I got into this. So the background story is I was moving, and while I was moving some things, I found a shoebox while I was in Dallas full of hockey cards. So I used to buy and just look at hockey cards. They're not worth almost anything, but I used to like ripping them if I found them in a store. And in that box was 2 old Japanese Sabrina's Gengars.
Oh,
I think like a rookie card for my favorite hockey player, and a first edition Dark Charizard hollow.
Whew.
And so when I found those, and then all of a sudden, COVID, everyone had extra money. We're working from home for those who were working. And I just started going to buy packs. So I was like, let me see what's out there. And I got addicted to Hidden Fates. That is my favorite set. It's what brought me back. It's what I was ripping. I had an old YouTube channel. That's where the original name Rock Bottom Uncle came from. And I was just ripping packs of Hidden Fates and Cosmic Eclipse every night for my friends. So I was just ripping and ripping. I wish I'd locked that closet and never opened it, because I would be retired probably right now. But I ended up really liking the ETBs. That's kind of like my bread and butter now, but I loved them. And I was collecting them. I think I had everything from like Roaring Skies forward, all the Pokemon Center ETBs, but that's what I collected. And that's what started the sealed journey, because I just loved it. And when I started vending, I really just kind of fell in, when I fell into it. And Dylan, you were like the first person I met, one of the very first people. And you were like, you have really cool stuff, but you couldn't really just carry around ETBs everywhere. And so when we started thinking about getting into vending and going to more shows, I always tell people, if you want to vend what you're passionate about. Yeah. You might be passionate about vending as a whole or Pokemon as a whole, but I love ETBs. The Elite Trainer box is just something I love. I still collect. And I went out and was just buying all of them. And that's what I started selling. And that's how I think I got known as like just the ETB guy in Dallas. Just like, hey, he always has everything. I've kind of tempered that down a little bit, but that was kind of the start of the journey, is me just collecting. And when I started vending, I started with 5 ETBs. I started with Unbroken Bonds, Cosmic Eclipse, a couple other Sun and Moon. So like great ones now.
Yeah.
But
I'm
that's what this all
thinking about
started with.
right now.
I sold one of those, I think, and I bought a bunch of slabs because I wanted to get into slabs that I was into. And unfortunately for me, I really like Sun and Moon era Rainbow Rares and PSA 9, which have a very small resale market. But I love them. That's what I was picking up for my collection. But ETBs have always been the driving force. So that's really where it started.
And, I might add, you are an expert at setup and teardown with your huge sealed setup. It's something we can get into down the road, but from a vending standpoint, I'd also love to explore like how you guys tackle sealed and what inventory to bring and what inventory to hold back, and even just managing wear and tear, dings, dents, all that stuff. It's a different ball game compared to
For sure.
So sealed was actually my specialty too back then. I guess I didn't dive much into it, but I was like, I can't afford anything. So I was like buying the only thing I could make money off of was like retail purchases. So unfortunately, I had to turn to the dark side a little bit. But that's what got me in the game. Like Jason, the Hidden Fates ETB, I guess we joined around the same era. Like that specific ETB was like my breakout of like into the reseller market, because I was like, I can just pay these people who are buying from the store like a percentage of market. And that's what I understood, percentage of market. And then I was like, oh, this is great. That was a perfect sweet spot. But Amar, you wanted to tackle like how we handle sealed at a show, or like?
Yeah. Well, we can get into it later.
Sure.
Because I think that's a separate topic in and of itself. And I'd love to talk a bit more about the market now and how we feel about sealed investing currently. And actually, I really love this episode because I'm going to be asking you guys questions, because it's like me getting free advice from people who are excellent in it. From my standpoint, I'm a baby sealed collector. I finally have a decent position in sealed. I've got like 2 Evolving Skies booster boxes. I have 4 cases of 151 UPCs and 2 151 PCETBs. A couple other stragglers here and there, some Sun and Moon. I have a lenticular Deoxys sealed. That's like it. And
nice.
So it feels better now than it did a month and a half ago. But to that end, I'd love to talk to you guys about how you've been approaching in this bull market specifically, purchasing sealed and then also letting go of sealed at the right points. For me, I got my Evo Skies very early, but a play that I felt confident about, but it was risky nonetheless, was I paid very strong on the 151 UBCs at the beginning of August before they were going to run up. And I felt like there was still room for them to grow. Of course, I wasn't anticipating the growth that they had in the past month, but that was, for me, what felt appropriate. Even within this bull market, I saw a signal for 151 to still appreciate, and it being one of the strongest sets in Scarlet and Violet. And that was my judgment call on, okay, this is going to be where I'm going to place my money, and this is where I think I can get a multiple on my initial investment the quickest. So I'm curious how you guys approached it going through the bull market, or if you already had amassed such a large amount of steel that you were able to use that to get more through the year.
It's been fun, man. This whole market, I've actually had a great time this market. I think with our play styles, I don't know if Jason has a similar play style, but with my play style, it's been very fun just because this is something I'm used to, I guess. Pretty much I buy when it's cheap and sell when it's high at the most optional, like as much as I can situation. I don't think you can predict every single market, but you can for sure feel it when the time is when the time has come to sell or when the time to come to buy. Like in this market, I think Jason, you probably saw all the Sun and Moon stuff was it took like a 2 or 3x in the last 3 months.
I wish I had more of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So to me, I caught wind of that, like things moving within 2x, 3x margins. And I was like, that's better than 20%. So so it's like 300%, it's like crazy. So I was buying a bunch of Sun and Moon and XY when they were all below 3,000. And I think other people were pushing up the market. I mean, I probably wasn't doing it, but I was riding the wave for sure. So like Roaring Skies, I bought for 2K, 2.5, and then it went to like 5,000. I was like, oh, 2x. I doubt it's going to go any higher. So I sold my copies. So that's like when you decide to hold and when you decide to let go, is if the gains are too quick and short time, like, are you happy with where it landed? Like 2x, I'm more than happy. This is not a normal standard growth. You should be very happy where you have gained, in that 1 month time. So to answer Chechi's question is like, if the growth is massive and large, you should really consider, is it worth holding more, or can you reposition those wins into something else? So I probably reposition those into, don't be afraid to pay yourself. True. I positioned my Roaring Skies wins into like more Evolving Skies, because I think that has more room to grow. So I was like 2x going back into like stable growth. Fine. Cool. And I'll let Jason speak onto that, what he thinks about the market.
Well, I think it's a good point, because I think on the opposite side of the fence, and I think I wish Hassan Collects was here, because Hassan has like really strong convictions on what he buys and holds. I don't hold anything. I love being at a show and talking to people and moving things in and out. I have kind of a saying that people think I'm sometimes crazy. If it came in today and it's gone today, I will let it go, because it's like I never had it. It's like someone coming up and handing you lunch money. It's like, it's kind of fun. It doesn't always work that way, but it's like, but in general, I do hold some things. And it's interesting because I don't consider them holds. They're just things I really like and I collect. I don't really think of it as from an investment standpoint. I collect, and most people would think I'm crazy. I collect the 10 sealed case ETBs. So like basically a distributor case of ETBs, the 10 pack of the regular ETBs. Yes. I have those in storage. I have one of most of the recent sets. I picked up an Evolving Skies one before the super boom. I picked up a Hidden Fates one not too long ago because I was missing that. But those are bulky, they take up space, and they don't appreciate quite at the same speed as a booster box does. But it's the things I like. So it's more like I want to have it rather than I think I can profit in the future the most on them. All of them have appreciated, so I'm not really worried about that part. But the way I look at things is now what's movable, what's quick ins and quick outs. So I'm very, very conservative with the dollars I have, whether it's savings, whether it's personal life, or it's Pokemon. I consider sealed like a bond. So if you're thinking about like the stock market, bonds are really conservative. They pay a small percentage over time. They're very low risk, and they tend to just grow. So sealed, I've always had this feeling like if it doesn't sell today, next week it's going to be up 1%, 2%, 5%. And I win either way. But my stuff that I try to purchase and bring in is in and out. It's just, if I get it this week, can I move it by the end of the week? And for me, I'd rather turn something for 10% over and over again than wait and see if it will appreciate 2x. It's just a different approach, but it's more because I like the social aspect of shows, not necessarily the investing side of it. I think I got into this because I just wanted something else to do. I met a cool group of friends in Dallas, and everyone was kind of into this. And this was like this old memory that sparked from childhood. Funny story is I got banned from Toys R Us in New Jersey because I used to sell Pokemon cards in the parking lot. And a kid ratted me out, and I was banned from all the Toys R Us's in New Jersey when I was 13.
Snitches get stitches, man. Come on.
So it's just like this hustle kind of came back. And so I collect the stuff I like. I'm kind of putting away and stocking up on Generations. I'm putting away Hidden Fates that I can find. So
you are putting away
I just enjoy.
Oh, stuff that he likes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's I can't even speak to that argument. I've heard that collecting and holding what you like is such a strong way to hold yourself back from selling. Yeah. Because like me, my Gold Star Rayquaza is that your sealed Generations and Hidden Fates. Like if someone else has your same taste buds in this general market, assuming you don't have like a weird taste bud in items, you should be fine.
Yeah.
Generally, like if you collect what other people collect and you know someone else that's like that moves the same stuff that also likes your collection, I think those holds are great because you just down the road, someone else will buy it pretty much. So
Yeah. I think the tricky part with this market and how big Pokemon has become, I call this the Tickle Me Elmo phase, where everyone knows you can kind of make money on it. So,
yeah,
so a random person who walks into Walmart and sees Pokemon, they're going to buy it. So it's not even collectors anymore. It's just any random person who sees Pokemon on the shelf.
wait, why does that mean Tickle Me Elmo?
Oh, so like back in the day, I'm older than all of you guys, so that's probably, let me give you some context for the younger people. Back 20, 30 years ago, Tickle Me Elmo had come out. It was this big Christmas product, and everyone was running around trying to buy it for their kids.
That's right.
And what happened was people got wind that this was the new thing. So everyone was just buying them. People without kids, people who were retired, just any random person who could find one in the store was buying it because they knew it was like free money. So we're in this, what I call Tickle Me Elmo, or this free money phase where it's desirable. Everyone knows it's desirable. It's on mainstream news now. So people are just buying sealed product because that's what you find in a store. You don't find cards. And so for me, someone who's been vending sealed product and keeping some sealed product, I'm always paying non-retail. I'm always paying someone else to get it because I work full time. This is a side project, a side hustle. So unfortunately, I do have to feed the scalpers sometimes. Yeah. But I try to be reasonable with what I sell for. I typically buy at 80%, sometimes up to 85, 90%, and I sell almost always under 100% because I just want quick flips. That 10% can be reinvested right away. Yeah. And as you have volume, that 10% becomes really strong.
Yep.
And so I could just put, let's say, $1,000 box, or like, let's say Evolving Skies, 2,500 or 3K. I don't know where it's at right now. I could go out, buy that box and have the assumption or instinct that it's going to go to 4K.
Yeah.
And okay, that would be great. What a return, especially if you got in cheaper than that. But for me, that product will steadily go up, as you said, Dylan. I think that has a steady rise. The stuff that's like Scarlet and Violet now, that's jumping 2 and 3x in a week, I personally stay away from. But someone like Hassan, who was going to join us tonight, has the conviction that it will keep going. So he's been buying all these, making these great plays. Mm-hmm. But to no X play, to his point, the Pokemon Center ETBs have been going crazy. So
yeah, I hate those ETBs.
That's pretty much all I have now, which is fun.
Are those the most Tickle Me Elmo of the bunch?
No, I mean, actually, technically, yeah. Because anything at retail, you can't lose within the next 2 years, in my opinion. Well, within last year and then the next 6 months, let's say that for sure. I'm pretty sure you should be able to win some sort of money if you bought at retail from this time on. But I'm on the same boat. Generally, on Scarlet and Violet, I have a hybrid thought process on that generation. But Hassan collects. He's one of the best. He's also a sealed legend in the community. So
we'll get him on next week.
We'll get him on next time.
Let's do it.
But the Pokemon Center ETBs, I despise with a passion. Yeah. I think they are overpriced. Yeah. I'm gonna sell all of mine personally.
Okay.
I'll buy them all, Dylan. Let me know.
Yeah, I'm like, hey.
I'm gonna hold maybe 151. Yeah. That's the only one I think that's worth it in terms of like set appreciation. But even like a case for $4,000, guys.
I know.
The pack price doesn't make sense, and then the promos, like, it's not that special.
Well, what do you think about because the cases themselves are gone? Like you can't get them anymore from Pokemon Center, right?
Yeah.
Because now it's like limit 2 per person, so you never get the full case. Do you think there actually will be a case premium with PC ETBs down the road, or is that just like
there's a case premium? I caught wind of this during Prismatic because it was like I learned it through experience. I was like, oh, I ordered a case, but then I can't order more cases after this now. So I'm like, the cases are rare. So I went to go buy out a few cases. So those are the moments that you decide, then and there, like whether the case premium is worth it. At that time, Prismatic was one of those worth it ones. I think 151 cases are going to be really good if you can have your label removed because they started sticking your address on top of the label. So
yeah, that was a problem.
there's going to be a premium towards visible 151 cases down the road, in my opinion. I still think that's all high, but in a general statement, case ETB premium will be solid. And to be honest,
This was one of the questions that came up with Pokey Chechi that she sent earlier. It was, we are seeing these crazy highs in sealed. In particular, I mean, you mentioned in the past the XY boxes that were pretty high. I think Team Up is really high. These PC ETBs are really high. Is there ever going to be a point with Pokemon, with sealed, where we actually hit a top signal and it actually might correct or go down? Or does the principle remain, if you have sealed, hold it, it will appreciate, you're fine? What do you think?
I wish we all had a crystal ball, right? It's
Right.
It's hard to say. I think these wild jumps, like I said, I'm very conservative with this. I think these wild jumps are a little bit, I don't want to say the word manipulated, because I don't think it's manipulation with the Pokemon Center ETBs as much as it is a desire for the PSA 10 version of the promo. That's really driving the spike.
That's a good point.
In the newer sets. The Sword and Shield set. So this is kind of something I saw in the last 2 or 3 weeks. We had Obsidian Flames, Paldea Evolve, Paldean Fates go crazy.
Yeah.
Before that, 151 went crazy. And so mostly it's because these promos have a very low 10 rate. And now you have to risk so much to pull that card out of a sealed package. And so what was happening, and I stock mostly Pokemon Center ETBs now. I do carry the newer sets when I can find them at a price reasonable enough to resell to people, and I have consistent customers that I want to help out. But I had switched a lot of my inventory to Pokemon Center ETBs, and the timing was great. I didn't have any conviction or so. I just wanted to limit how much stuff I was bringing to shows and like different SKUs. I don't want 400 products. I wanted 20 good products. And so what happened was I had kind of timed it, but what I'm seeing is now the spike has happened at the Scarlet Violet level, which is the promo driven is the way I would call it.
That's good.
But Sword and Shield don't have promos.
Yeah.
So I think those are starting to spike a little bit because people think they're undervalued. But I think that's from people who don't understand the promo piece of this. They're seeing, oh, Brilliant Stars hasn't moved in months, and it hasn't really until just recently. It went from 150 to 190 or so, maybe 200 now. But that's not the same appreciation as we saw Paldean Fates that jumped 100% in 2 weeks.
That's insane.
But I think people are seeing Pokemon Center ETBs under 200 as a good buy right now for collectability. Most of the time when people buy them, I usually don't even ask if they're opening it. I've met a few people who do open. But it's more like I want to put this on my shelf versus I want to rip something.
Yeah.
And for the collectability side of this, I think has grown exponentially. I think that was, I don't want to say an overlooked side of the market. I think people were collecting, but not sealed like we've seen today.
I personally neglected a lot of Sword and Shield Pokemon Center, except Evolving Skies, just because I was generally tied to that set. But that's the only one I really tackled. Everything else I just missed, which is fine. There's a million opportunities, so
for sure,
missing some opportunities is fine. But my take on the Pokemon Center ETBs is, I think we talked about it last time, is like how many people will absorb this PSA 10 card. Like, let's say Charmander from Obsidian Flames, the consumer absorption of like a regular Charmander promo, there's probably like 100 people at a card show that would want that and a PSA 10. And I think there's probably like 5 people who would want a Pokemon Center version of that, or who would willingly throw out the price to spend on that high-end version of it.
Yeah.
I just don't think there's that many collectors who are paying the 10x premium or 7x premium for the Pokemon Center version. I just don't think it's there. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but I've done enough sales.
I don't think you're wrong. I've actually had the Paldea Evolved Pokemon Center 10 for over a year.
Yeah,
it's been in my case the whole time. Now the value has gone up 8x, so I'm not complaining at all. But it's a very limited pool of people who are asking about it. That's for sure. So I do agree with you there.
So that's why I made that bold statement that they're so high right now, just Pokemon Center stuff.
Yeah.
Like whether I'm right or wrong, I'd rather put my profits of Pokemon Center ETBs into booster boxes. That's just how I stand on the market.
Yeah.
So if I'm wrong in 5 years, we'll find out. But
You definitely, I mean, the long-term hold, the booster boxes make the most sense. I've been trying to tell myself that for years now, but I just can't get away from the ETBs. I can't. I just
Is it
can't
because
give
they
them
look
up.
cooler, or
I mean, when I had my full collection, it was like a wall of ETBs. It looked really cool.
it was really cool. When I saw that, when I first you sent that picture, I was like, "What the heck?" I was
Yeah.
like, "Where do you get all this from?" Like,
And it was just stuff I was paying, like, I mean, a lot of it I was getting for clearance at GameStop because they were an essential business during COVID. And so,
yeah.
I mean, I think my Unbroken Bonds ETB when I got it was like $30.
my God,
The Hidden Fates tins I was paying $11 or $12 a piece for.
You want to hear a funny story about Unbroken Bonds?
Sure.
So I couldn't afford like the regular ETB at the time, so I bought a Spanish version. I thought it was really cool.
I think my wife would start enjoying if I started buying some Spanish sets for sure.
It's like cheaper and it looks just as cool.
Yeah, but I think there's like you have the PC boom. And I don't want to change subjects really, but maybe it's a good segue.
sure.
It's I think you have the boom of sealed collectors, lack of stuff on store shelves, and that's kind of leading towards this other. I'm losing my train of thought. Hold on, come back to me in a second. I'm gonna get there.
Sure. I was going to change subjects anyway. I think we
Perfect.
have a good amount about PC. Well, I'll say this about the Pokemon Center promos. I've actually been, I like them. I agree. Like, who the heck is buying the PSA 10s? I think the market is really small for them. But I've always thought, like, theoretically, the PC stamped promos feel a lot like first edition cards. So for me, it was like, oh, okay, this is the first edition version of the card. Over time, it will be so rare that people are going to want it. The art is cool, so on and so forth. But you guys bring up a good point about whether or not it's actually in demand. And I think, I see them always sitting, especially that Charmander's like 3K. Nobody's buying that.
Oh my God, it's 3K.
Something like that. It's definitely over 25. It's high.
Oh my
Yeah, that was the reason for the big spike, and then the other ones kind of followed suit.
I haven't kept track. I thought it was $1,000, but I'm clearly wrong there.
Which I guess that does, at least, shilling aside, show that there is some demand for it on eBay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How real any of that might or might not be. Okay, going into 2026, are you guys feeling the same as this year? Are you guys rejigging your approach on strategy? How are you guys getting into the next year, and where do you feel comfortable? Where do you feel like there are risks?
Ooh, well, I change my strategy so fast and so frequently. I can't commit to my word anymore. Like in terms of like my future strategy, like
Sure. Yeah,
I'm like in this market in Pokemon, you have to be hyper adaptive. I think.
Yeah.
Like if you commit to like a one logic, I think you lose in my opinion. But personally, currently in my time frame, I'm repositioning everything into sealed. That's just the safest bet in my opinion. I think there will be more safer plays next year that'll show itself. But in the current like Q4, I think that repositioning any extra money I have is into sealed, or putting all my slabs into sealed is what I'm pretty much doing. I think a lot of the big vendors are like they're scared of the market, so they're all switching into sealed.
Yeah. That's what I've heard too.
That is a good point. Okay,
Yes.
You know what? Let's talk some smack here. And I'm guilty. I'm guilty of this. So I'm the same type of vendor that I'm about to describe.
Okay.
Holy moly, have I seen a trove of vendors getting scared, holding the bag on their big, flashy PSA 10s or their big vintage cards that are north of 7K, 8K, and saying, and hey, I've said this on my story, I am guilty of this, but people are saying, hey, I'll trade this straight for sealed. I'm looking for sealed. I mean, it has increased like nobody's business. I've heard so many people who are saying they're getting into sealed for the first time because, look, they bought a vintage card for 3K and now suddenly it's like 9K and they're like, oh, well, where can I actually see these gains again? What can I put my money into or money towards, and that answer most often now as a bull market I feel is cooling down, is going to be sealed. I think it's very funny that sealed has now become really zesty amongst the like high-end slab vendors. But I obviously see the wisdom in it. And you know what? These vendors are all intelligent and savvy, and they're looking to reposition themselves for maybe a market correction, maybe entering a bear market. And I think we're all seeing that, although, week after week, there are some record sales here and there. I think Gengars are still up. There's just like some random niche stuff. It doesn't feel like it did end of July. It feels like there's, especially with gold stars, they've corrected. Lots of the ultra high-end vintage has kind of come down a little bit, and it seems like people are now migrating to sealed where they can see some more appreciation. So it is a funny conundrum with us savvy vendors that we now think this is fun. But I think those of you who have been collecting sealed for so long, or have been dealing in sealed for so long, know that this strategy over slabs is a bit more sound and safe.
I've been doing it all this last month.
And see, I went against my own self-belief and started buying some of the bigger cards, and now I'm feeling at risk. Luckily, I'm not yet, but the same kind of thing. Now, it's a little bit frustrating for me, especially in a very big Pokemon market like Dallas, is I can't find any sealed because everyone else is buying it. And that wasn't always the case. So I'm more hyper focused on specific things. And if I'm going to have, and this is what I was going to get into before, so it's kind of perfect. Where my predilection is now, or where my gut feeling is that the specialty sets will continue to grow.
Yeah.
There aren't booster boxes available. So I've been kind of hoarding booster bundles for a lot of the specialty sets, for 151, for Paldean Fates, for even Black Bolt and White Flare now. If I could pick them up cheap, they're still available.
Yeah.
But if I can get them, they're more readily available. Prismatic, I am stocking up.
Yeah.
These things are going to be printed for at least a year. Prismatic for sure will go for at least a year in my estimation. But if you have the extra value or extra funds set aside, I think that's a really safe bet. This is not financial advice in any way, but Prismatic is where I'm putting my money right now. And I actually don't like this set at all. I will never keep a Prismatic single in my case. I don't really keep any singles in my case, but really,
you got to remember,
I don't love the set.
But somebody else
has never been an evolution person, And so I'm really if I'm putting money away, it's in Prismatic right now. Prismatic, Destined Rivals, the new sets, because they're available. Yeah. But I think those specialty sets, Destined a little bit less because there are booster boxes, but I'm really honing in on sets that don't have a full set. Don't have a full set of product is a better way to say that. And so that's where I'm feeling the money should go for now, and that's when I'm really doing it. Yeah, Chechi, I'm with you all the way. I am a hater on Prismatic, but I think it will move like evolving over time.
You know what's crazy? I mean, not that we're talking about graded cards, but that Sunbreon is now up again, and it never actually dipped that hard. I still don't understand how that card didn't hit like sub 2K. And it
was pretty crashed too.
Yeah.
I think so. I'm really good at sealed and I'm good at slabs and singles, but for some reason, Scarlet Violet has always bested me this whole last year. Like I've done generally okay, but I think I could have done a lot better if I had like different strategy in the Scarlet Violet generation. But I'm on the team of I think all of us are on the team. We want reprints because if reprints happen, we get to buy it cheaper is the logic behind this. So technically, if they mass produce and reprint, people are going to complain and get scared that the market crashes. I'm going to, and most of us who are just hoarders, and we were like, great, this is the perfect time to buy in. This is our chance to get cheaper product. But I don't know. The logic is 80% of the people have to like it. 20% don't. That's okay. Get the product if 80% of people like the product.
Yeah.
Even whether you're a hater or like it.
or to your point with Scarlet and Violet, it's been hard to even make those judgment calls because Obsidian Flames, everybody was not about it. And now that crap is doing so well.
So that's a lesson that I learned during COVID, actually. Well, not really, because I didn't listen to my own logic. But Obsidian Flames, it was cheap. It was $80. People were selling for like 85, $90. That's like literally the people who have done this long term is like the golden signal to buy, pretty much. But I was at a position, I think it might have been the post robbery time, or like when I was like in the trenches, pretty much. Like I needed the cash, so I needed to sell. So like the logic that every big investor at Pokemon has told me like is just don't sell if you don't need it. If you don't need to sell, just hold that crap till the moment you need to sell.
Yep.
So whoever's listening, if you don't need to sell, just hold your items. Don't sell, because the better market's in 10 years.
Yeah. And you know what? That's an interesting thing to bring up, because that is how I'm approaching sealed.
Mhm.
I probably won't be a frequent sealed seller or flipper. I'm gonna have like, I actually really like sealed booster packs and like small, easy to carry and manage sealed products, blisters and whatever. But the reason why I got into sealed was to have some sort of cushion that I never have to worry about and think about, so that it will always appreciate. And then I suddenly am building a real position in sealed that over time will be valuable, but right now is quite small. So it's almost like the nostalgianomics sort of approach, where I'm just like, let it sit, forget it, and then dollar cost average, move my seal that gets expensive into smaller stuff that's cheap. Actually, Black Bolt White Flare is a good option. Prismatic obviously is an excellent option. I'm incredibly bullish about Phantasmal. We can get there. And like rinse and repeat. And then suddenly, if I have like a 30, 40K nest egg this year, that compounds and turns into ideally 6 figures in the following year, and so on.
Yeah, I love sealed growth. This is where we hit this is not financial advice. Jason said earlier, but I'm going to say it again. This is not financial advice, but it's better than saving. It's better than high yield saving. It's better than S&P 500. There's a lot of things that it can beat, but just, if it crashes, don't start crying,
And I think that's something what you're saying is dead on. It is outperforming the collectibles market, and especially Pokemon is outperforming every major index right now by a lot.
Yeah.
And I fear for the people who are jumping on the train and not fully committing to the idea of what they're doing are going to be left holding the bag. I'm ultra conservative with this, like I said earlier, but the growth is unsustainable short term. Long term, I think there's a lot of growth for Pokemon, but
yeah, it's fair.
You don't see things typically jump 100, 200% overnight, and we've seen that. And so, to your point, Dylan, earlier, that's a good time to get out.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you might miss the end of the run. Maybe it was going to 3x, but you can't time that. You can't time the market. No one can. And so I think there's a lot of people who are kind of jumping into the hype without kind of doing the research, who may get bit because you feel like, oh, I watched the Bubble Mew go 4x in a month, and I'm going to buy it now because it's going to go 6x. So I'm still going to make $1,000 on it if I pick it up. I don't think that kind of return is sustainable. Yeah. I personally feel that there's a drop pending, maybe not on that specific card, but in the market in general.
Yeah.
And this is something I think a few of us have discussed previously, where usually I think right now is the lull. Journey Together felt like a lull. I kind of felt that happening. It had some great cards. I think it's still going to do well over time, but it's the lowest performer of the series as far as I can kind of see, at least recently. Yeah. And I was like, all right, there has to be a drop. Maybe not the market's going to turn, but like there can't be hype on every set. Not every set is going to perform like Evolving Skies, like a Paldea Evolve now, things like that, or a specialty set. But I feel like we're due for a lull. But Mega looks great. Phantasmal looks great.
Yeah.
I don't know where the holidays are coming. I don't know where the lull is. But I don't know that Pokemon, and you have to know as an investor or a collector, Pokemon doesn't care what your returns are.
Yeah.
They don't care what the side market is doing or the secondary market.
As long as the cards don't become totally not valuable.
Of course, but they're going to still try to put out good product, but they're not saying we should limit this release because collectors will want it. They're selling at MSRP or at their wholesale prices to their vendors, and the end consumer, they want purchasing the product, of course, but they're not saying, "Ooh, this set's not as hyped up as the next one, so we're gonna skip it." They're saying we're gonna release it because we're still gonna sell it. Obviously, the demand is there, but I think you really have to be smart when picking your battles and your investment choices. You can't know everything, you can't win them all, but
Right. You just have to win enough.
Win
yes,
enough,
you just have to win enough.
Win enough.
And when
is
you're not
fun.
winning, you dollar cost average down until you win.
Yes. So
Pretty much.
how I see it, there's for next year, there's going to be two versions of what's going to happen. I think version A is like what we all want. It's just the market just keeps climbing. And it keeps superseding our expectations. I think if you built along a big nest egg of good items, you should be fine. Version 2 is that the market crashes and it gets extremely volatile. Like this is also good for us, us type of investors, because personally, I would like this version. I like this. I kind of want this bloodbath of a version of a volatile market, because I've been getting cash ready to buy what needs to be cheap and stuff like that. So I've been freeing up liquidity just to wait for whatever is going to happen this time, because this version is the more likely version of happen next year.
Yeah,
but we could be wrong. Like the Pokemon market just keeps blowing us out of proportion. I don't really know if it's out of the radar anymore. So anything really.
I kind of think so much of it rides on whether or not people will vibe with Gen 10 and if that will go well. Because I mean, if I think back to the beginning of Scarlet and Violet, people were not hot on Gen 9. They were not hot on the silver border cards. There were a lot of critiques on the new sets and you know what they were pushing out. I think Scarlet and Violet base didn't have enough in it, and as Scarlet and Violet progressed, the only thing that really caught fire was 151. So it took several sets for it to kind of get going, and then of course it caused the bull market and everything else. But you know, without us knowing what's going to happen, one with the 30th anniversary and two with Gen 10, it does feel like the likeliest outcome is for this to not continue, because it's been going for so long, and for there to at least be what you're saying, a really like a volatile market. Whether that's good or bad, I think that feels like the most likely scenario.
I think we are reaching the year's marker of when this started getting crazy.
Yeah.
I think, wasn't it Surging Sparks was when the tide happened?
Oh yeah.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's when everyone started pretty much buying everything. So I think around the year marker, it's going to be a very fun research topic. It's just looking at what the next year after that could hold.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Yeah, I think Surging Sparks, just to kind of jump in here for a second, is a great reminder of what a reprint can do.
Mm-hmm.
Because you couldn't find Surging Sparks. I mean, those ETBs, even the basic ETBs, went from what retail $55-$60 to 120 or so.
They went higher too,
overnight,
right?
dropped to 70.
Oh, okay.
So you have to be careful when investing, but at that point, to Dylan, you were saying it before, when it hits 70, I'm buying more of it.
Yeah.
Because I think it will just keep going. I've seen the demand happen already. So those are kind of rare opportunities that, yes, maybe if you were holding, let's say 10 ETBs, you just lost $500 in paper value. Your investment just dropped from 120 or 1,200 to 700 overnight. But now you have an opportunity to buy stuff that you haven't seen in 6 months back at retail. I mean, for me, I'm buying that because I just saw it go to 120. So I have a natural inclination that it will happen again, that it will repeat itself.
Are either of you guys buying into the hype with future sets, or are you staying away?
If they're good, yes.
Okay.
Like Phantasmal, you talked about Phantasmal. Like that one, I bought a few already off of the reselling market. I'm just predicting what the price lands on release.
Yeah,
I paid like $175 per ETB. I think it's decent. But those are those ETBs that I believe in. That is like, if it goes wrong, I think my choice was okay. Like I made the right decision at the time. If they overprint, I would commit to like 10x of my prices, or like 10x of more quantity. Because if they dip to like $75 per ETB, I'll probably buy 10x more of what I was initially getting. You know,
Yeah.
So I'm not afraid of my decisions and falling into the hype. if the hype is like a good product. Like Phantasmal, great product. I think it's gonna be a banger. So
yeah, for sure.
I stand on that one.
Well, I mean, I think of like Destined Rivals, where everyone was like, "Oh, you got to be cautious and don't buy into it now. It's going to be so high." And I don't exactly remember where it landed on release. I think it was what, $240 a box, something like
that. I fell into that notion. I kind of was like, it'll dip.
And it maybe it did a little bit, but like now it's on another run and it's healthy, and I don't think it's going down from this point forward. And I can see the same thing happening with Phantasmal. I mean, of course, like there are some things working against it. It is the smallest set for a very long time. I think like 92 main set cards, and then the SIRs and everything else on top. And we haven't seen the art yet. I think a lot of people are saying that Charizard is basically confirmed, which
isn't it?
would change everything if that was
Charizard and Gengar, right?
Well, no, we know that it's Charizard and Gengar, but you know that the leak floating around of the Charizard with all the Charmander, Charmeleon, and Charizard in it. A lot of people are speculating that that's actually the artwork.
Mm-hmm.
If it is, Lord have mercy, that set's going to be wild. And of course, we haven't seen the Gengar yet. And of course, just seeing how everything is lining up, even if it is a small set, I do think it's worth putting your money into and maybe buying into the hype. Maybe.
I mean, I bought into the hype during COVID. Look at Celebrations. If Celebrations can do it, Mega Phantasmal can do it even better. That's a small set. It's a very small set. It's an anniversary set plus Gold Star Greninja, but overall, Mega Phantasmal should be an overall better set.
Yeah. Are you guys going back into older sets still and buying? Do you think there's some buying opportunity there, or you think we've really topped out for a minute?
Define older. Like anything?
X, Y, and before.
There's plays, but they're not worth. Oh, let me rephrase that. Jason, you may want to answer this. Let me think about how I rephrase
it. X, Y, and before. That's not my forte.
Okay.
So I'm not quite sure. And we're talking like X, Y, and Sun and Moon, which I think is still relatively recent in terms. I think there's a few that have maybe topped out for now. I think there's always room to grow with the more vintage sets. I'm using vintage lightly here. But I think there's a few sets that have more room. That there hasn't been I think like you're seeing Shining Legends go a little crazy right now. It's been going up, but like I think it still has more pop.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a specialty set, right? So it's another one of these things where you can't find. The funny thing is, I had one more. You started with this, Dylan, earlier. I had one left, the Shining Legends,
the big one
collection, and
I sold it back, man. I sold my last one because for funds.
I sold it to Leonhardt at Dallas Card Show. Nice. So the one he just put a video out on, that's my box. Which he said he was going to keep. So now I'm like, I'm not mad, but now I feel like I'm kind of like, I got tricked. I got tricked by Leonhardt.
I thought of my answer since then. So the logic is you can put 10K in any older set. There's a lot of good options, to be honest. There's many good options in older sets because they're safer. But right now, the strategy with modern and new stuff have much more larger multipliers.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm not even focused on the old stuff, because I've been just making massive multipliers in modern and new releases and stuff like that. Like, I mean, everyone knows we went pretty hard on the McDonald's Pikachu promos. Like that's we put a lot of money into that instead of buying old stuff, and then our multiplier is going to be pretty crazy, assuming we do everything on track, plan and stuff.
Isn't that Pikachu like $70 raw now?
Yes.
What the heck? I like left one in my like cash pouch, and it got like it's damaged. Like I just didn't worth anything. I just put it in there. I wanted to rip them at Worlds. Yep. I was like, fun.
Yeah, we were at Worlds. Yeah. Technically, it is a sealed product, so we can talk about this. It is a sealed pack, so we were buying them for $20 back then, and I was just like, this is cheap. So I'd rather put 10K into this cheap thing, and now it's like $70 per pack. I'm like, oh my god. Now you don't see this gains in old stuff. You just don't. Like multiplier at least.
Ooh, this is a good one we haven't touched. Japanese seal. Dylan, I feel like you're most equipped to answer that one.
let's just say I already bought a few of those.
Wait, what is the Hiroshima PC box? I've never even heard that.
That's the Gyarados one.
Oh yes, the new one.
So I talked to Knox about this, but we that's another good example. That's a modern play that's just released, has more multiplier opportunity than vintage stuff.
Yeah.
So like this one is tough because it's like they could reprint like 5 times more. So if you don't leave with your wins ASAP, you may be like left holding the bag. So with the new stuff, we move like exceptionally fast. We try to. So I'm personally just grading them, but I also want to hold a bunch because there's a world they don't reprint these, and then it's just Poncho Box, 10 years later,
Yeah.
It's exactly what that is. It's like they were cheap back then, now they're not cheap. So, maybe 10 years later, these are the same. I don't think they'll be the same caliber, but they'll have some sort of ratio that can relate to that history.
What about looking back at like a EV Heroes box, some stuff like that?
Oh,
Japanese.
That older Japanese, I don't like necessarily. I think they have room to grow, but when you think about this, is again, like consumer absorption, like there's a million people who want Evolving Skies, but then there's probably like 10,000 who wants EV Heroes. That's just the logic of like I don't want to tie up that much money in a non-liquid item. I think they're both great products. I have like my ratio of Japanese to English Evolving Skies is like 1 to 30.
Yeah.
So I still have a stake in the game, but it's not high, to be honest.
No, that makes sense. I've seen like a lot of people say that a lot of the older Japanese sets, especially Sword and Shield era, it's just stagnated.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean there might be room down the road? Maybe, but you're right in that. Is it that liquid or high in demand? Probably not.
Because you got to think about a freak scenario. What if World War III happens?
Yeah. No, for sure.
Who's gonna buy your Japanese sealed?
Uh-huh.
I think a lot of people will buy your English sealed, but the Japanese sealed, it needs more time in the world. I think there's a world like when the Chinese market absorbs the Japanese product. I think that's the time when Japanese shows its glory there. But right now, I don't think so. That's where I stand on that.
Okay, should we jump into a couple questions here?
Sure.
Okay, so first one, this is from Chasing Celebi. If you're on, hey, thanks for the question. Okay, so he says, so many people want to invest in sealed for their long-term plays, but I think people end up selling early sometimes. And I know we touched on this a little bit. For you, what's the minimum hold time before you even think of moving a sealed product?
The minimum move time?
Yeah.
Daddy Donkey Kong is wild in chat.
I didn't see that.
I think hold time, that's a loose. If you give yourself limitations, you may miss on opportunities.
Yeah.
So like even Jason's logic, like it's as soon as it's in the door, you can flip it right away.
Yeah.
I think if you absorb the product and you think it's at its highest point you can sell it, you should just flip it right away. Like don't give yourself a minimum time. I think you just look at the overall potential. Like I don't care for time in terms of like there's no minimum time for me. I just think like if it's the maximum value gain, then that's the time to sell pretty much. I don't know if that made sense, but
no, totally.
That's my answer to that one.
Yeah. My minimum hold time is 10 seconds.
Literally. There we go.
I guess from where I'm sitting, because I have like this whole let it grow and appreciate, set it, forget it. Like my, the 151 UPCs I bought when they were like $450 a pop. I don't think I'll even consider moving them until they're over 1,000. I'd like to 2x probably is my threshold, is 2x, if not 3x. But that 3x or 2x is not the time for me to cash out. That just means I'm going to take that and put it into something else. Mm-hmm. Because at some point you're going to get diminishing returns on those gains. I don't think this is exponential growth curve here. Like these sealed boxes are going to hit some high and probably sit there or stagnate for some time before they even go further. And there's just a ceiling to everything, right? Like like a shadowless first ed base booster box is going to be extremely high, and it might appreciate over time, but it's not going to be a $50 million box. So you kind of have to think about logically where that money is actually going to settle and what that ceiling is going to look like before you decide where to move it.
I agree. Find the ceiling and hope that's correct.
Yeah. I mean, I do agree with you. Both of your approaches too. I think there's certain products where it's not the number as much as that the conviction that it has room.
Yeah.
So the 151 UPCs, I think I'm down to like just a few. And I said, I'll sell the last one that I'm willing to sell, and that's it. The rest I'm going to sit on. How long I sit on them, I'm not really sure. But there's a few products that kind of feel like the Charizard UPCs are another one for me. They're getting more scarce. They're rising in value. I really don't want to move them. They're nice to put out. People like come looking for them. So it is in my best interest to have like one or two available because it brings eyes to the table. And yeah, sure, I could, I guess, say it's not for sale or it's our spoken for or whatever. I'm not really big on lying to random people I don't even know. But in general, it's there. You have to have some conviction on some products. And Amar, like your call was spot on. That's someone who didn't really dip into sealed and say, I think the 151 UPCs have room. Yeah. And it's funny. I had talking about both of those products, Charizard and 151. I had someone come and pay full market, and they were another vendor. And so that person had conviction. Well, in my thought process, I said, this guy must really think they're going to keep going and wants to buy the one of each that I'm willing to sell today. And what he said threw me off. He says, I'm going to rip them right now. And I said, why? The pack value is crazy. Like, you're crazy for that. And he said, oh, it's not pack value. If I PSA 10 one of the 4 promos that I get, I win.
Yeah.
So you have to think that people have everyone has a different objective. And so if you feel like you have conviction on something, stick to it, hold it. Like the other 3 or 4 UPCs that I have, they're not going out. They're staying in storage. I've already put them away. So I think it's just a matter of kind of knowing yourself and really finding products that you think have that room and sitting on them. I'm not putting another 151 bundle out in display. I don't know, for the foreseeable future, it will not be available. I have tons, but it's just one of those products that I think have a lot of room to grow, even at $90 or $95 or wherever they're at now. Paldean Fates is going to follow this. I mean, it's even higher. I feel like Paldean Fates could have a risk of being reprinted. I don't think 151 does anymore. I think 151's done. And I have no knowledge of that, but it just feels like it's running dry.
Yeah, Paldean Fates, I feel like could be reprinted too.
That'd be wild. That would break things.
Yeah.
Well, they could.
I think that was a little bit further along that there might. I think Walmart recently had sticker collections, so it means the packs are available somewhere.
Yeah.
Are they gone now? Maybe. But 151, I think you're going to see maybe Blooming Waters, and I don't think it's going to affect the market at all.
Yeah.
I mean, they could reprint the whole generation.
Who
That'd be sick.
have 151 are going to sit on it now. So
here's an interesting question. How much of a percentage off would one take off from a slightly damaged sealed product like dents on a box?
Well, I'm stingy, man.
Okay.
So my answer is 5% is what I try to get at the most. It depends on how egregious the seal is. Like I had a Furious Fist XY ETB, and it was a bad cut. So that one I had to like give a pretty strong discount. But if it's like a tear on like, I think they were selling Ancient Origins earlier, and it was like a cut on the top because how people cut the case open.
Yeah.
The top. I was like, box is pretty clean. It's a minty box to me. Like, do you still want this? It's $8,000. So I showed them. I'm very transparent with what's going on, but like,
yeah,
I'm very confident in the sale, so I don't mind pushing for the higher sale. Like if liquidity, if the rip is strong enough to risk your liquidity, then you discount more.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think on my side of the fence for ETBs, so someone who focuses more on ETBs than booster boxes, Pokemon Center ETBs with holes, rips, dents are nearly unsellable for more than pack value. They are, in my opinion, an item that people only want to collect, and very few are ripping. And so I've had plenty that have been passed on, even with a discount, because they had a little nick or a dent. There's a little bit more room on like a regular ETB because they were on store shelves. They were at Target and Walmart, and they get banged around and they get dropped. And but the Pokemon Center ones, and that's, I mean, Amar, you brought this up at the beginning of the call. Traveling with these things, every Pokemon Center ETB that I have is in a Target cereal case, and anyone that I've left out has now a little tear or a rip, and then has become harder to sell.
Damn.
And so I hoard those boxes because I can't find them, and it protects my inventory and the value of my inventory.
Oh my God. I've got this right here. Acrylic.
Yeah, acrylics. Yep.
You know?
They save lives, man.
Yeah. So now, I mean, I have it stored in my pantry, but got to start somewhere. Okay, well, let's take one more question. Same dude. What's up, Los Tres Amigos? Is it reasonable to buy slightly over market on sealed product? It seems that there is less room for negotiation than singles or slabs. Not sure if this is true, as the market is hot on sealed. Again, like we've been saying, if you have the conviction and you want to pay market, go for it. I did that and it worked. Although don't have a huge sealed position, I do research a ton on sealed, so I had a pretty good hunch based off the research that I did. But there are vendors like Jason who will sell a little bit under market. Yeah,
that's true.
Most of the time, yes. 95% of the time. You just got to talk nice to me.
Cheat code unlocked. I mean, this is what Jason says. Conviction is such a strong word in this hobby. If you have experience and conviction, like, you're going to make a lot of value in this market. Yeah. So for me personally, I pay over market if I believe in the product a lot. So if you guys don't know, but one of my earlier tactics was I would plant myself in a show and I would just clear out one single item. The whole table, every table I would go through, I would walk in and out every single island and look for that one card. Back then it was Houston, the Van Gogh play. I was paying market, over market, under market, everything in between. I was like, this is cheap. I'm going to buy every single copy that I see. So that was just like a tactic that I played back then. But if you have conviction and you believe in it to be very cheap, it's okay to pay over market personally.
Yeah.
I feel like in most cases, I very rarely see I've seen things priced over market at every show, for sure.
Yeah,
over market sometimes.
Actually having to pay over market, I feel like is a little rarer. I think people will most likely reasonably sell at market.
Yeah.
Especially for sealed product. There are a few people who, like, you know, and there's no harm in doing this. You can price things however you want at a show. It's if you think it's going up, then you want to charge higher. Sure. Maybe that's what I should do. Maybe I should put my stuff at ridiculous prices and no one will buy it, and I'll just leave it there. But in general, I think you should be able to get away at market.
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't feel pressured to overpay, bro.
Yeah.
Like, we're firm and we have our reasons, but there are other vendors who aren't, and you just got to keep going around trying to find, you know, your best deal.
Do what we do. Find people you don't know.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. Let's park it here. I think we got to have a part two. I had a lot of fun talking to both of you about this. There's so much more we can go into with sealed, and I would love to have Hassan on. You guys are totally right. So we will and have more of the guys on and talk more about sealed. But anyway, thank you both for joining. Everybody follow at MetaKhai on all socials and at The Kitchen TCG on all socials. And we'll be back around for another one. Any last words from either of you?
Evolving Skies to 3K soon.
I think 3,500 by end of the year.
Yeah, I'm a believer.
Yeah, we still got 3 months or more.
Yeah.
Stock up on 151.
And prismatic.
Just forget you even have it. I don't even know where my prismatic sealed 4 cases anymore.
If you lose this year, you'll win in 5 years. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy win.
And don't over leverage. If you don't have the money, don't use it.
Facts, actually.
I think that's one last good point. You're talking about like getting involved in like older sets. If you don't have the funds, don't over leverage yourself to go try to buy a Cosmic Eclipse box or an XY set. Start small. You're seeing appreciation among the smaller sets. Try to find some stuff at retail, put it away, and then make sure you're comfortable along the way. And when you're not comfortable, it's a good signal to sell a couple things if you need to, and then reinvest when you can. There's going to be plenty of opportunity in this market.
Amazing. Thank you guys so much. See you soon.
Thanks for having us.
Peace.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.